Well, good morning or afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to VA Careers Live. My name is Mike Owens, and I'm a national recruiter for the Veterans Health Administration, as well as your host for our weekly segment, Talk About It Tuesday. If you're tuning in for the first time, I just want to let you know that we are here every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. So feel free to grab a snack, grab something to drink, and join us as we talk about careers here at VA. Now, whether you've been here for the last 30 seconds or you've been with us for the last 3 years, you know that we want you to be part of the conversation. So feel free to leave any questions and comments in the comment section below. Our team and I, we like to go through those comments and questions throughout the day and throughout the week. And some may even be featured on this live today. So if you have any questions or anything you would like us to address, go ahead and leave those in the comment section below. Also, we all know who wants to come work here at VA or someone who's interested in learning about careers here at VA. So we ask that you please share our broadcast. Again, we ask that you please share our broadcast. So click that share button. We have a hashtag work at VA. Again, hashtag work at VA. Or you can simply use hashtag VA careers. Again, so we ask that you hit that share button and use our two hashtags. You can use both of them, or you can use one of them. There's hashtag work at VA or hashtag VA careers. And we appreciate you doing that with us. And as always, we appreciate you guys joining us every Tuesday for this awesome information that we like to put out to you guys. So today, we're just going to have a simple Q&A. I have some questions that were submitted earlier this week about resumes. And so today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about resumes, and I'm not going to talk from any specific topic. I'm just going to talk from the questions that were submitted at an earlier date. If I have any extra time, I'm not sure that I will, but I'll try to answer some of the questions that are sent to me that are in the comment section today. But I'll first start off with some of the resume questions that were sent from the audience the last week or so. So the first question I have it looks like it's from Dwayne. So first of all, Dwayne, thank you for taking the time to submit your question. So Dwayne is asking, why should I include a cover letter when the information is all on the resume? So again, Dwayne is asking, I have all my information in my resume. So why should I why should I submit a cover letter? So my answer is there's a few different ways to answer this question. My first thing is that you have to realize that there are thousands of candidates that are applying for jobs with the VA these days. And the reason I say that is because sometimes you have to go the extra mile to stand out over 2,000 candidates. We've had job announcements that have come out. We've had job announcements that have come out in the last couple of weeks. Actually, we had a job announcement for the HR Star program that came out last week. And I just did a check-in to see how many candidates had applied for it. And the announcement's not even closed. We already have 3,000 candidates that have applied for that position. So with that being said, you want to sometimes do the extra to make sure that you can kind of be a step above some of the other candidates, because we understand if the cover letter is not required for that application. We understand that most applicants aren't going to submit a cover letter. So if you're one of the candidates that do submit a cover letter, guess what? That's the next step that you're taking, and I won't say it's going to propel you to the front, but it could potentially help you rise above some of the other candidates. The second reason why I would say have a cover letter is because it's your resume. A lot of times your resume is just clear and concise. You have a job, you have your jobs listed, and then you have bullet points. Some of you may have paragraphs, but most of the time it's bullet points of things that you've done in the job. It's very black and white. It's just clear and concise. What a cover letter can do, I'm trying to get my words here together, but with a cover letter, you can kind of tell a story about your experience versus just putting everything in bullet points. And when you create that story in your cover letter, you're letting the hiring manager or whoever's looking at your cover letter, they get a like a gist of what your personality is like. So And it also allows you to put a little bit more information that would normally not go on your resume because of your storytelling. You know, I can sit here and give you fact sheets about me, but if I actually write a story, the story is going to tell you more than what the fact sheet will tell you. And that's kind of the same thing with the resume and the cover letter. Think of the resume as a fact sheet. Here's the jobs that I've held, and these are the duties that I've done in these jobs. Versus the cover letter is okay, my resume shows you the things that I've done, but let me kind of put it into a narrative and make it a story. And so hiring managers are able to kind of sometimes they're able to gather information from the cover letter that they're not able to gather from your resume. And sometimes that little bit more that you put in your cover letter can answer any questions that the hiring manager has from your resume, and it can give the hiring manager a better it can help them gauge whether you're the perfect candidate for the job or not. So that's why I always say have a cover letter, because again, it's your opportunity to story tell to the hiring manager and let that person know that, hey, I'm the perfect person for this position. So again, Dwayne, thank you for sorry about the fire jets. I live close to a Navy base that has F-18s, and they also have an Air Force unit that has F-15s. So around this time, they normally take off. So if you hear all those fire jets in the background, they're going out to fight over the Gulf of Mexico since we're in New Orleans. So not fight, but they're going to play their war games over the Gulf of Mexico. Um, Next thing that we have Bradley. So Bradley asks, and this is not particularly a resume question, but I like this question. Bradley asks if I can talk more about the panel interview process. So first of all, Bradley, thank you for submitting that question. So the panel interview. So let's say you went to USA Jobs or VA Careers. You found this perfect job that you think that you can do and that you think you're the perfect candidate for. You apply for it, you get referred, then you get a call from a hiring manager or that VA facility saying, hey, we saw your resume, we want to select you for an interview. We want you to come in for an interview, or we want to set up an interview for you. So most likely that first round of interviews is going to be with a panel. You're going to have a panel of it can be anywhere between 2 and 5 people. And what they're going to do, they're just going to ask you performance-based questions. Some of those questions may directly have to do with the position. Some of those performance-based questions are going to have to do with trying to get more of your personality. How do you react to certain situations? How do you react to situations that are positive, when everything's going good on the job? How do you react when everything is seeming to fall apart? We've all had jobs where things just feel like that day was just everything was falling apart that day. How do you handle those type of situations? How do you handle the situation when you're trying to make a decision and everyone disagrees with your decision, but guess what? You feel like your decision is the best decision for the group and it's best for the company. But how are you able to persuade everyone else that's going against your decision, not or going against your suggestion? How are you able to persuade them to show them that, hey, my suggestion I feel is best for the company, for the office, for the VA facility? How do you just basically how do you react to certain situations on the job? So that's what performance-based interview questions does. And again, some of them can be specific to the job title that you're applying for, or some could be just generic. They just want to know how are you in the office, and those performance-based questions can sometimes allow the hiring manager to see, okay, is this person a perfect fit for the office? Because again, your resume, your cover letter shows that you have all of the qualifications to do the duty, but there's two things to selecting an individual here at VA. One is, are they the perfect candidate for the job as far as being able to do the job? And your resume and cover letter tells us that. But also, you have to be able to work with a team, because you're not working by yourself. There's no position here at the VA where you're working by yourself and you're working independently. Even for remote positions, you're still part of a team. I have a remote position, but I still have 30 other coworkers that I work with on a daily basis, and I have to work together with them on the team. So the next part of that decision-making process for the hiring manager is not only is this person the best fit regarding work experience, but is this person the best fit and is going to bring cohesion to the into the office. So um, that's the reason why we do performance-based interviews. That's the reason why performance-based interviews are done over just generic talking about, or you just talking about job experience. Because again, the resume can show that you're perfect, that you're the perfect person as far as job experience. But the performance-based interview questions and having that interview in that style also gives the hiring manager a chance to see if you're a perfect fit for everyone else in the office. Because you don't want to try to force a square peg into a round hole. You want to make sure that everything fits perfectly. All right. So again, thank you for that, Bradley. Thank you for that question, and I hope that I was able to accurately answer it. So my next question comes from Michelle. Michelle is asking, I have a BA, Bachelor of Arts, a master's, and I'm one class short for my HR manager certification. I currently work in HR for the last 3 years. I also have a deceased VA spouse. I'm sorry for your loss, Michelle. I live in New York, close to 3 VA hospitals. What grade should I apply for? So, just to kind of go back over it, Michelle has her bachelor's degree, her master's degree. She's about to get her HR management certificate. Um, and she has a spouse that's now deceased that worked for the VA at some point. What grade level should she start applying for? So Michelle, I would just say apply for all of them. Any HR position that you see from GS5 all the way up to GS 12 or 13, I would say apply for them. Because again, there's a lot of different factors that the hiring manager is looking for. I know that you have the education, but they're also going to want to know, do you have the work experience? So if you have the work experience to match the education, that can qualify you for some of the higher grades like GS 9, 9, 11, 12, and 13. But if you have all the education, but you don't have the work experience, and this is not just from Michelle, this is generic information for anybody. But if you have all the education and the certifications, but you don't have the work experience, sometimes you can come in at like the mid-level grades, like GS7, maybe GS9, and topping out at GS11. But I would just say, I'm not a person, I say don't limit to yourself. Don't figure, okay, I have this, so I'm only applying for these grades and disregard the other grades. I would say if you want a position in human resources with the VA, anything that you see that you may be eligible for, if that position is open to the public or you fall into that status as a status candidate, whatever job announcement that you see on the HR that you figure you can apply for, I'll apply for all of them. I wouldn't say, like when I was coming to the VA, when I was coming off of working full time for the military, and I was trying to get on with the federal government. I applied to everything. I applied for GS 5, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 13s. I applied for them all. But I eventually came on as a GS5. And I know a lot of us, especially if we have the education, we're like, and the experience, you're like, man, GS5, that's so low on the totem pole. But I was able to work myself up over the years. So again, none of those positions that you come in are permanent. When I mean permanent, doesn't mean that you're going to have to sit there for the rest of your VA career. You can apply for promotions, you can move around, you can do all of that. So I would say, yeah, the sky's the limit and apply to all of them. So I hope I was able to answer your question regarding where you should start applying or what grades you should start applying for. All right. Danielle is asking a question, and this is a very common question that Danielle's asking today. So first of all, Danielle, thank you for submitting this question. So Danielle is asking, why does it take so long to get an interview? Is it possible to speed up the process? So I get it. A lot of times, you guys, we apply for those positions, and after we apply, we finally get a referral letter, and then for like weeks, we don't hear nothing once we get that referral email. And then all of a sudden, maybe sometimes a month later, you may get a call or email saying you've been selected for an interview. So the reason that happens is Once you've been referred to the hiring manager, that's when the hiring manager sees your applications for the first time. So the hiring managers are not the ones that are going through your applications from USA Jobs and deeming you referred. That's HR. HR is doing that. Once you've been referred to the hiring manager, that means HR has finally found the stack of applications of applicants who are eligible for this position, and they're now handing those applications off to the hiring manager. So what makes the process so long, as I mentioned earlier in one of the other questions, is that sometimes when I tell you they're dependent on the popularity of the job. Now, some jobs like physicians and stuff that are skilled where only a certain amount of people can apply for those jobs, yes, you may not have that many candidates because you have to have a certain skill and a certain education to be a physician, a nurse. You have to have specific education. But like if you're trying to get a job in HR, you're trying to get a job in administration. Let's say you want to be an administrative assistant or administrative officer, jobs that can be held by a lot of people. Some of those positions have over 3,000 candidates. I actually saw an HR assistant position that closed not too long ago that had 19,000 applicants. Again, 19,000 applicants. So I'm repeating that because I want everyone who's listening to me understand that these vacancies are not just drawing like 10, 20, 50 candidates. These applicants are drawing thousands, tens and thousands of applicants. And that's why the process can take a while, because it takes a while to go through 3,000, 10,000, 19,000 applications. And now you have to pick maybe 50 to 100. And then once they get referred, now that hiring manager has to go through 50 to 100 applications to see how many they want to interview. And sometimes they may choose to interview 10 people. Sometimes they may decide to only interview 5 people. But the reason the process takes so long, Danielle, is because there's a lot of candidates applying for these positions. Again, there's a position that we announced for the HR Star program. Like I said, we announced it last week. It's not even closed. It doesn't close for another 3 days. But guess what? We already have 3,000 candidates. So no telling how many more candidates we get in the next 3 days. And again, someone showed me an announcement for an HR assistant position that was open a couple of months ago. And again, that had 19,000 applicants. So that's why sometimes the process may seem like it takes a long time. But it's not that VA is trying to string anyone along. It's not that we're trying to make the process difficult for applicants, because I know for job seekers, because we were all job seekers at one point, even I was. And I know we're in a rush to get a position because we want to make sure that we have a job. We want to make sure that we have the cash flow coming in. And we really want to have a career, and I get it. But I just want you to understand that we're not doing it on purpose. It's just that we have a lot of people applying for these positions, and we want to make sure that we give every application its due process in order to figure out if that applicant is eligible for this position or not. So that's why it takes so long. So again, I apologize for how long it takes, but I just want to assure you that we're working hard to make sure that we do the process as quickly as possible. But again, sometimes the number of applicants kind of makes that process a little bit longer. So thank you for that. So I guess I have some of the pre-screen questions. I know you guys have some in the comment section, and sorry if you see me looking up like this. I kind of have to tap the chat box here. So let's see. All right, so I have a question from, it looks like Gabriella. Gabriella is asking, is it too late to submit a cover letter to your application if you've already received a notification results and referral for nurse email? All right, so Gabriella, normally once the job closes, so let's say we have a position that's open from March 1st to March 20th. So March 20th is the last day that announcement is open. Once March 21st happens, that application is closed, the application process is closed, and you cannot submit anything to your USA Jobs application on USA Jobs. Now, for nurses, it's a little bit different. Nurses you can reach out to that facility, find out who that nurse recruiter is, because the hiring process for nurses are a little bit different. So if you're a nurse, you can reach out to the nurse recruiter at that VA hospital that you're applying for, and send your cover letter over, so they'll have it in case your resume comes across or your CV comes across their desk. So normally, on a normal basis, once that announcement closes on USA Jobs, you cannot add anything else to the application. But for someone like a nurse or provider, you can reach out to that physician, provider recruiter, or that nurse recruiter at that facility. Send them an email and ask if you can submit this cover letter to go with your application. So again, since you're a nurse, I would say, yeah, reach out to the VA facility, and find out who their nurse recruiter is, and just email that person with your cover letter. They can accept it. They may accept it. They may not. It's just, because they're really not required to accept anything that doesn't come from the USA Jobs application, but it doesn't hurt to at least try. So, Gabriella, thank you for that. All right, so I have a question from Angela. Angela say, if I have a license, can I apply for a job in another state with my current license? Do VA licenses need to be national? So no. In most cases, if you're a provider that requires a license, so if you're a physician, if you're a nurse practitioner, if you're a nurse, and let's say if you're a nurse here in Louisiana, where I'm at, I'm in New Orleans. So if I'm a nurse here in Louisiana, my license is in a Louisiana license, I can apply for any VA medical facility. I can apply, for the most part, I can apply to any VA hospital in the country. Most VA facilities will allow you to have a license, but you don't necessarily have to have a license from that state. So if I'm working at the VA hospital, or if I'm just a private sector nurse, let's say I'm working at a hospital in Louisiana and my nursing license is in Louisiana, and I want to go to work. I want to go work at the VA facility in Houston, Texas. Well, I can just apply. I don't need to have a Texas license to operate. Now, I will need a Texas license if I decide to leave the VA and go work for a private hospital in Texas. But as long as you're working for a VA hospital and you have a license, you don't have to have a license for the state that you're working in. The VA will accept any license from any state, even if it's not the state where that VA hospital is in. So, all right. Let's see. All right. So Nancy is asking. Nancy says, how many people, first of all, Nancy, thank you for this question. How many people review an application? Does it depend on the position and the agency? So I really can't answer that question. It does. It just depends on the agency. It depends on that office. I'm not sure how many people in HR are reviewing the applications to send to the hiring manager. Once they get to the hiring manager then, some of them do it themselves. Some of them have a panel. They have a panel of maybe 3 or 4 people. They divvy up the applications, and each person goes through the stack of applications that they have, and they rate each application to see who's eligible for an interview. So again, that number is unknown. Again, it's different from each HR a human resources office, is different for each program office, and each VA facility or program office. So I know that's probably not the answer that you wanted. I really don't have an answer to that because I've seen different offices do it different ways. So but just all I ask is that you just be patient. So anyone that's out there applying for VA positions, I know some of you have probably that are watching me right now, you have applied for a position that you're waiting to see if you get a referral. Maybe you've applied to something and it hasn't closed yet, and you're just kind of nervous, hoping that you get a referral. No matter where you are in the application process, I do ask that you just be patient. It's a lengthy process. And as I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, that there are thousands to tens of thousands of people applying for single vacancies. So the process is lengthy, but just have patience, because again, we're working hard to make sure that we hire the best individual in a fairly timely fashion. But again, it's hard to do that. It's hard to do it really quickly when you have tens of thousands of applicants applying for single vacancies. So with that, that's all the time that I have today. I thank everyone who submitted, whether you submitted questions prior to the broadcast or whether you submitted questions during the broadcast. If you submitted questions during the broadcast and I was not able to answer it here online, I will be sure to have my team and I go through those questions and follow up with you guys in the comment section. So again, if you have any questions that I was not able to answer today, leave those in the comment section and we'll go through those questions again. If not today, throughout the next couple of days to make sure that we get you guys an answer. But as always, I thank you guys for watching. Whether if you're tuning in for the first time today, come back next Tuesday. We're here at 12 noon Eastern time. But if you've been with us for the last 1, 2, or 3 years, as always, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys engaging with us. And I want to thank you for helping us get this information out to the world. So with that, thank you for watching. As always, it's Tuesday. We're definitely going to talk about careers here at VA. Have a great day, and I will see you guys on next Tuesday.